Ben Simmons got?
Well, he's got to get a jump shot.
Kobe gave him the advice years ago.
Just get off my case. I do other stuff too.
But Ben Simmons never listened. And you won't believe how true Kobe's warning ended up becoming. Years ago, long before that embarrassing 2021 playoff flameout and the disaster of a career that followed, Ben Simmons got advice from one of the GOATs only a year before his death. The entire crowd laughed when Kobe said what was painfully obvious, that the dude needs a jumper. But Kobe wasn't joking.
Yeah, it's like, it sounds humorous and all that, but I'm dead ass serious. Yeah. You can't, because if not, he'll regret it.
Ben Simmons is one of the most athletic, most hyped players in NBA history. When he was coming out of LSU, he was a guaranteed superstar. If you don't remember that far back, don't worry, we'll get there in a second. Because what Kobe said next was so prophetic, and Ben wishes he listened.
When his career is over, and you look at what he's doing now without that, is astonishing. Now imagine you can shoot the ball. What does that open up for you? You don't want to retire. No, seriously, you don't want to retire and look back and go, man, if I just had a jump shot, what would I have done? You don't want that. You don't want that.
Yeah, the Ben Simmons workout memes are hilarious. The last few years have been embarrassing, but Ben Simmons was doing things on the court we had, honestly, barely ever seen before. It was like magic. LeBron. He was supposed to be in that company. So 5 years ago, what was Kobe's advice on how to join that elite crew?
So I don't care if you have to lock yourself in the gym 10 hours a day. If this kid gets a jump shot, it's a serious problem. A serious problem.
Not only did Simmons not listen, you won't believe how much worse it actually got.
Simmons, they cleared out for him. Backing his way in. Spins on Gallinari, gives it up. Oh, he was right there. And a foul as Thibault goes to the basket. Boy, Simmons, uncontested, had a layup, but he leaves it for Thibault.
The beginning of the end happened in the spring of 2021. Simmons, Joel Embiid, and the Sixers were humiliated by a far worse team in the Atlanta Hawks in the second round of the playoffs. In the 7-game series, the top-seeded Sixers lost to the Hawks while Simmons struggled to shoot from anywhere. From the free throw line, he shot 10 of 28 in the first round, then 15 of 45 against the Hawks. That 34.2% is the worst in NBA playoff history by a lot. When you can't shoot free throws, you get scared to even attempt them anymore. And then you get scared to drive to the basket, and for guys like Simmons, when that's their only method of scoring, they are useless. In 5 of the 7 games, he didn't even attempt a shot in the fourth quarter. Now that was the most aggressive example of his shooting woes, because after that, he forced a trade to the Brooklyn Nets where he struggled to even look like a viable starter, let alone the superstar he once was. But while that series might have broken his brain, his shooting struggles have been around for far longer than that. In his NBA career, Simmons has hit a total of 5 3-pointers. That's right, 5. 15 of his 4,765 points have come from behind the 3-point line. That would be bad for 1995, let alone 2024. And to be fair to Kobe, his criticisms came really early in Simmons' career. He won Rookie of the Year after missing his first season in the NBA, then was immediately an All-Star. Kobe saw something special in Simmons' game, something that couldn't be opened without a jumper. Because, especially in today's game, if no one respects you from outside, they feel free to sag off. It really hurts your ability to set up the offense when everybody knows you don't need to be guarded tight. So the fact that, despite his lack of shooting ability, he was so incredible, a legit superstar, is actually insane. When he was coming out of college, people called him the next LeBron James, and that is not an exaggeration. But even in 2016, they knew what he'd need to do.
Ben Simmons next LeBron, if he can develop a jump shot, he has to shoot the perimeter shot a little bit more frequently. Ben Simmons is the truth, though. I love his game. I really, really do.
Simmons was a phenom right away, an all-SEC player as a freshman. He scored 43 points, along with 14 boards, 7 assists, 5 steals, and 3 blocks in a win over North Florida. LSU's most points in a game since Shaquille O'Neal. Ever heard of him? Even though the team was poor, he was the clear-cut #1 pick in a decent draft that included Jaylen Brown, Jamal Murray, and Dom Sabonis. As a rookie, he averaged 15.8 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds. The only guys who had hit those numbers to that point were Oscar Robertson, Wilt, Magic, Harden, Westbrook, and yes, LeBron. Luka Jokic and DeJounte Murray have since joined the club, but again, he was a rookie. He was an elite defensive player, joining the first team by year 3. He was 4th in Defensive Player of the Year voting that same year, and 2nd in 2021, losing out to Rudy Gobert. And honestly, Ben probably deserved that one. Maybe the most insane stat, he is 14th in NBA career triple-doubles. He had a staggering 12 as a rookie. Now he's only 28 and has only played 57 games in the last 3 years, but he's 14th. So obviously, he can be a really good player despite not being a good shooter. So there must be something bigger holding him back. But what is it?
Ben was frustrated in a whole different way,
That's Doc Rivers, of course, Ben's coach during that 2021 season.
Just the mental part, the health part, the injury part, just the work ethic part. I mean, all those things. And so that was a different type of frustration.
The mental part is pretty easy to unravel. He choked bad in a playoff series and never fully recovered. Happens to the best of us, right? The injuries are something worse. As a rookie, a fracture in his right foot knocked out his entire first season. In 2020, a year after that really tough Raptors loss, Ben missed the playoffs with a knee injury. But the 2022 stuff is where things start to get weird. During the holdout, he tried to say it was a mental health issue, which worked for a bit. The team stopped finding him, but when he stopped cooperating with team officials, it was clear he was just trying to save money. After finally getting traded in the Harden deal, he underwent back surgery in May 2022. His entire Nets tenure has been plagued by knee and back injuries, which only hurts his chances of ever coming back to form. But there is one more thing that Doc thinks is holding Ben back.
Plus, it must be tough to coach somebody that you don't know if they love basketball. Certain guys are good at sports. You got to love basketball. And I wondered if Ben loved basketball or he was just good at basketball.
Yeah, I would say I agree with that. There are times and that's through the league. You know that. Like, if you don't love the game, you can only be good at it. And I've always said this, the playoff always exposes guys who really love it. Because the pressure of the playoffs and the intensity of the games, if you don't absolutely love it, it will eat you up. It does. You can see it every year with certain guys. And so, I would say you're right on that.
And that is the toughest part, and probably the most avoidable. And honestly, nobody wants to hear this, but it is Philly's fault. They spent most of the 2010s trying to lose games to get draft picks. For some reason, it was bust after bust. The two guys they did manage to get, Simmons and Embiid, are a perennial choker and a washed-up 28-year-old. When your team doesn't care about winning, neither do your players. And when your players stop caring about winning, they stop caring about basketball. And in Simmons' case, they stop caring about getting better. Is it too late to fix Ben's career? 2 years ago, he sat down with an old teammate and proved there is no chance of it getting better.
Been all NBA, you've been an all-star, you've been on all the defensive teams, but that narrative around the shooting is so constant. How frustrating is that?
I think for a while it's so repetitive. You're hearing it all the time from everybody. You're like, just get off my case. Like, I do other stuff too. Like, I'm guarding the best players, and that's one thing I don't think people respect that enough. Like, what I'm bringing to the court, because there's a lot of I'm bringing to the court. And for me, I just want to win. So people also don't understand my goal is to purely win.
JJ had his take too.
I think it's fair to nitpick players, and there's, you look at Giannis, and Giannis has won MVPs, and he's widely considered the best or one of the best players in the world. And people nitpick his shooting, people nitpick his free throws, and there's just not a perfect player.
JJ also pointed out that Simmons had created more threes for his teammates over a 3-season stretch. Even though he himself couldn't shoot, he was getting guys like JJ open. And it's not like JJ wasn't practicing.
And I was around you for 2 seasons, and I watched you work. I watched you shoot every day after practice, every day before practice, whether it was free throws, spot up threes, whatever.
Don't get us started on Ben Simmons' workout videos, because that is a fountain of content. Every single year, we get Ben Simmons workout videos, and every single year, it's supposed to mean something.
The NBA season is right around the corner, which means it's time for a tradition like no other. The Ben Simmons off-season workout videos have been hitting the net. So Simmons is working with trainer Chris Brickley, and according to Brickley, Simmons is back to playing all-star talent level basketball. He also said big season loading. We see it. It's hard to tell from the...
Okay, Ben.
It is too late to convince us. Ben Simmons is washed. Once upon a time, he figured out how to hoop without shooting. The next gen Rajon Rondo. But that mental block is keeping him from being an even decent player. The Brooklyn Nets are officially in tank mode, and Simmons' career is all but over. Do you think Ben can actually improve at this stage? Is All-Star territory still on the table? Let us know in the comments and watch one of these videos next. Listen to The Wrong Opinion, Useless NBA Trivia, and Garbage Rankings for more NBA content.